Go very, very fast and basically say it's great to be with you. This is my 32nd attendance at this conference over 32 years and my 25th as CEO. What I want to say is that, thank you. What I want to say is that being on the road, though, is the best part of the job. I have a chance to come to so many of your cities, 26 cities myself this year. And in places like Jacksonville, I saw 500 people gathered, including the mayor and the city council and business leaders, and this picture is from Jacksonville, some road art. Los Angeles Town Hall last week, 500 leaders, including government and business leaders, talking about how to make Los Angeles a better community through the arts. In Wichita, the entire city council coming to the event. In Colorado Springs, widespread area and lots of excitement from different parts as coming together in one umbrella organization. Oklahoma City celebrating its creativity. And when I go around the country, the main thing I want to do is say congratulations to you. What you do is create the infrastructure of support in America that makes America sing, as Walt Whitman urged us to do in his poetry. So congratulations to you, and you've been doing it for a long time. You know, we have troubles out there right now, and this is an article about the challenges of arts funding and how collaboration was going to solve it. But if you notice, it is an article from 1952. So we are still fighting and doing creative things in places like Cleveland, where they were looking to transform a rundown, crime-ridden neighborhood into an arts district using other models from around the country, or St. Louis, looking at a suburban mall and turning it into theater facilities and art spaces for 65 groups, and on and on. So I want to say thank you for all you do. And as Bill Ivey pointed out, in getting that $50 million stimulus package through, 85,000 of you called and wrote and sent emails. And so give yourselves a round of applause, please, for what you did on that. Now, you know, everything I look at is both good news and troubled news, and there is some challenge out there on the front of support for the arts. And when we look at private sector funding, we see that there's good news and tough news. I had an opportunity in the last month to testify to two congressional committees, the Appropriations Committee and the House Education and Labor Committee, and my message was the same. We have great news in the arts, the growth, the excitement, what we're doing for cities, and we have tough news. Dollars are down in the public and private sectors, and as you can see there, there's a dip in dollars predictable right now. But you also see that over the years, the trajectory has been up with different up and down times. This is more of a concern to me and what I want to spend time on in the coming year. The share of the pie for private philanthropy for the arts has been slowly dipping. That means even though the money might be okay and dipping this time, the share that we get from philanthropy in general needs to be shored up. We need to do better case making for the nonprofit arts out there. And we look at attendance. Now, in Bill's remarks, there was a lot of discussion about the broader arts community. This is the recent NEA study. It's about the narrower arts community of theater, opera, ballet, other dance, classical music, jazz, etc. But we see that there is a drop in attendance rates. And we see that that is something that, at least in that part of the sector, we have to pay attention to, even as other parts of our sector are seeing new audiences, whether it's folk or other kinds of electronic or digital music. So Americans for the Arts will be looking at all of this data and working on our own plan. 6,000 of you told us what you thought as we produced a long-range plan. We asked for a few ideas. 6,000 people wrote us and told us how we should work over the next 3 years. So thank you for that as well. And we took that plan in October, about ready to launch it, and as I was presenting it to the board of directors in what I thought was a wonderful visionary move at NASDAQ, where one of our board members worked, in a room with glass walls all around. And as I'm talking about the future and what I wanted to spend, behind me on big jumbotrons, the stock market was crashing. So we completely revised the plan, we revised the budget, we downsized by 20% for this year, and we came up with a plan with 3 main goals that we want to focus on. The first goal, leaders. How do we get more of them? How do we strengthen the leaders who we have? And Americans for the Arts works on 4 kinds of leadership pods. The most important, the professional leaders, you, and the 200 different kinds of training programs that we will do over the course of the year. But the citizen members, the activists who are not professionals, members of our audiences, people from other arts organizations, we have 100,000. Those 100,000 helped us generate 85,000 contacts with Congress, with the great help of our state arts advocacy organizations and their networks as well. But we need 1 million people like that. With 1 million people, we can really make a difference. So that's another priority for us. Opinion leaders is the third piece of the puzzle. People who we can cultivate at the local level and at the national level, like the Robert Redfords or the corporate leaders who can make that one call at 8 o'clock at night and get through that Bill mentioned. The leaders that we have are in the audience, emerging leaders, people who are the young leaders who will take us into the 21st century. Leaders from community-based arts organizations, community development, artists. And artists we need to pay attention in the next administration to returning support for artists at every level in our federal, state, and local governments. The Arts Action Fund itself, the citizen members who I mentioned, the grass tops leaders, corporate leaders. Now, it's interesting. Corporate leaders don't look the same as they used to look. Our business committees for the arts and arts and business councils across the country are reporting, battles of the bands, engaging corporate leaders in the arts as something that they do for fun and love. How do we take advantage of that? And then finally, the area of strategic partnerships. We simply ask the question, who has the money? Who are the decision makers? If it's the United States Conference of Mayors, if it's the League of Cities, if it's the conference board in the private sector, we want to partner with them and we want to pull them into the family. So that's our goal 1 objective. In the goal 2 area, we have been working on increasing resources and meaningful policies for the arts in the public and private sector. You see that we've done a lot of work on federal, state, and local advocacy, and Josh Groban, along with, up at the top there, Wynton Marsalis, Linda Ronstadt, came and testified to Congress for us and with us. And when we found some political leaders who we felt voted the wrong way on that Coburn Amendment, our great friends in New York, for example, started to let Senator Schumer know that they thought he had voted the wrong way, and he called finally and said, "Please stop. I didn't mean it." And went on talk shows to talk about the arts and economic impact and jobs, and was a great helper in the conference to make it all come together. So in this goal, too, we did many things. We used our data to pull together coalitions, and I know that National Association Latino Arts and Cultures is in the room, and NASA is in the room, and they helped us make ads that we could put up on Capitol Hill to make the point that we needed the $50 million economic stimulus package. This is the $70 million photo, though. These are the witnesses from last March, not this March, last March, that laid the groundwork for some of the work that we were able to do this year. And you see that this is the embodiment of the coalitions that we are talking about. Our witnesses included in the left, just out of the picture, the head of the Arts Committee of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Mufi Hanneman. And then the first gentleman there is the CEO of the Conference Board, the organization of all of business in America. And then John Legend, Kerry Washington, and Robert Redford, the artists whose relationships we had cultivated there. And all of that for the benefit of the 2 gentlemen on the right. Norm Dix, who you'll meet tomorrow, the Democratic leader of the Committee of Appropriations, and Congressman Tiart from Kansas, the Republican leader at the time. That lobbying led to a $20 million increase 2 years ago for the NEA, $10 million for the NEA, and $10 million for the NEH this year, $50 million in stimulus. And recently, the president put forward a $6 million increase, first time out of the White House in a decade, for the National Endowment for the Arts, and Norm Dix added another $9 million to it. So it works, creating that kind of connection. We're doing a lot of work, we hope, with the White House on other kinds of initiative. You all got an email from me about the United We Serve initiative. How can we be good partners with the White House in things that they feel are important, like service? Or with the State Department. We will be focusing on trying to get more money in the State Department for cultural diplomacy. It's kind of sad that there's only $12.5 million in our federal coffers for international cultural diplomacy. There needs to be more. Education is one of these areas that we are focusing on with upcoming meetings with the Secretary of Education scheduled, and an eye on making No Child Left Behind, making the changes that will benefit the arts in the future. We have the data. Goal 3, better understanding of the broad value of the arts, advancing the value proposition, whether it is equity or economics or community change or health. We know that the arts are a significant industry when we put the for-profit and nonprofit arts together. 19,000 arts-related businesses just here in Washington State, nonprofit and for-profit. 4.2% of all businesses in America. Case-making research like that, like the economic impact study that was at the core of our argument to Congress, or in collaboration with the Conference Board and the National Organization for All Superintendents, case-making research that says if the number one thing business wants is creativity, what about the arts? You're not talking about it, and this study says that the number one thing that business thinks, or that superintendents thinks creates creativity in a child, is arts in the schools, and the number 2 thing that business thinks creates creativity is arts in the schools. We can use that to make change. We have our national ad campaign just launched. The Art Ask for More message is a message about driving change to our educational systems. And finally, as we work to get the message out, we're expanding in the social networking functions: Facebook, LinkedIn, MySpace, YouTube, and even Twitter. Yes, indeed. So tweeting will be happening, apparently. And finally, in Goal 4, that's our survival goal, ensuring our own organizational sustainability. We did downsize 20% this year, but we're strong and we are fighting. And I want to just say 2 things and ask you to help me say thank you to a great board of directors. And if they would please stand, the board that are in the room of Americans for the Arts. And the best staff I could ask for. Would the staff please stand? We're trying to look at many things as we try to work with our own organizations. Sustainability, greening is one of those things. At this conference dedicated to that, we saved trees, as you can see. We didn't use as much paper, and we even saved money as we did all of that. At the end of the day, though, it's all about this. It's all about the members that we have all across the country, whether they are individual members or they are our citizen members or our organizational members. Together, that strong membership is what it's all about. That's what has made whatever successes there have been. That is you. You are Americans for the Arts. Thank you.